Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and it's first impressions time on the Shirogorov. I did it again, didn't I? I don't know. I think it's now I'm questioning myself on how other people say it. We're just gonna say Shiro. This is the Shirogorov. I don't know. This is the Shiro Quantum, and this knife is bananas. I have been loving it so far. So I've carried this knife. To be fair, I think I've carried it like 2 whole days, maybe even 3 before doing this full review or this first impressions. I'm not going to do my full review yet because I want to keep putting it in pocket and learning even more about it. But I was also just on vacation for a couple of days, so that has kind of thrown my groove off on my schedule of getting things filmed. But I'm back now and I'm shooting a bunch of videos tonight, and it's time to do first impressions on this guy because they are phenomenal. The Quantum is the first Shiro that, like, from the first time that I saw it, I thought looked really cool. Most of their knives, if I'm being totally honest, have looked really vanilla to me. Now that I have this one, they're starting to look more exciting because I'm liking this one so much. But for the entire time I've been aware of Shiro, I just haven't been super excited about their knives, mostly because the lines seem so basic and the designs seem so simple that it's just like it hasn't really spoken to me. But this one, even when it first came out, I thought it was gorgeous. I think this one sticks out in their lineup. It even does some things that I'm typically not a huge fan of. Like the blade almost has kind of a Persian vibe, like the tip is kind of upswept. That's not usually my thing at all. But it stuck out to me, and I liked the way it looked all along. And so when I decided it was time for me to finally try a Shiro, it was like the Quantum is the one that I want. And I got lucky. I found a guy in the Facebook group who was in Canada who sold this for what I would consider, based on other deals that I've seen, I got it for kind of a steal. I'm really happy with what I paid for it. Part of why it was reduced was because this one originally was blue. They do some in just regular titanium, they do some in blue, and they do some in bronze, like anodized, right? And this one was one of the blue anodized ones, and the guy de-anodized it, which is fine with me, because I'd prefer this color anyways. But it has technically, I guess, been modified in that way. The ano has been removed. So, yeah. Other than that, I guess it did already have a snail trail around the pivot. I've definitely added a couple more already, which I'm not feeling bad about because I am loving this so much. So let's just kind of jump right into it. First impressions wise, without diving into like too much of a detailed thing, I want to save some of my thoughts for the full review and frankly see how they evolve as well. But this knife carries so well. It's a big boy. This is a large knife, and Shiro typically makes pretty large knives. Like, this blade length is a little longer than most primary knives that you'll catch me carrying on a daily basis. But the handle size, I find, is actually, for me, it's money. And the fact that this clip is set down into like the lock bar cut here, where it's milled out, but it doesn't rest on it. It rests actually on like a shelf on this upper side up here. Sorry, I'm having a lot of trouble with this being I'm trying to see this in the viewfinder. This pocket clip, I was worried the first time that I saw it that it wasn't gonna like go in and out of pocket well because it's kind of nestled down in there, but it carries phenomenally in thick pants, thin shorts. I carried it in slacks. This knife is awesome in pocket. It's truly fantastic. I love carrying it. Plus, the whole thing feels really slim. It's not overly heavy, especially for its size. The weight feels like well distributed, if that's even a thing. There's a lot of internal milling. It's a big backspacer, however, so that's definitely adding some weight. But the whole thing feels balanced and fairly light and just like slender and comfortable, and it's excellent. On top of that, the action on this thing is just freaking money. It's so good. I have to be careful when I get past there. I've definitely almost cut myself a lot of times on this knife. It's so glassy smooth, runs on their multi-row bearings. It's crazy how much I'm liking this knife. I had the Holt haptic not long ago, and when I decided to let go of the Holt haptic, just because it was such an expensive knife that it felt like it was kind of burning a hole in my collection, like it just didn't make sense for me post-review to keep it around when I wasn't going to be carrying it that much anymore. And frankly, I still liked the Arius better, and like it was a whole thing, but I came to the decision I was going to let it go. At first, I was like, I'm going to trade it for a Quantum because I want to try out a Shiro. That didn't work out because I ended up taking a different trade, but I like this better than the haptic, I guess is what I'm getting at. And I didn't necessarily expect that to be the case. It was more of like a curiosity thing that I was hunting a haptic, where it was like, all right, this is like the Holt offering that I really like. It's really cool. It's great. I love it. Everything about that knife was very positive for me. But this knife, for some reason, just like tickles me in a way that the haptic didn't. I don't know if I can even put my finger on it. I'll try to figure it out. But this gets me even more excited than that Holt did. And I was not expecting that. I expected to get this and to be like, yeah, it's really nice, but it feels a little sterile and it doesn't excite me all that much. But it's cool. It flips really well. The action's cool. Like, I thought I was going to feel pretty monotone about the thing. Nope. I freaking adore this knife. The size, the dimensions, the ergos, the action, the carry, like, it's all coming together to just be phenomenal. Plus, with these fullers, if you will, or these grooves, I can get it some of the time. I have to be in the mode, but I can. Oh man, this is awkward for the camera. I can middle finger flick it. There we go. Yeah, on Instagram I've posted some videos where it's gone better than that, but for the camera it's difficult. But yeah, that's another thing. Like the fact that, there we go. It's easy when it's down here. The fact that I can middle finger flick this knife, even though it's not like the easiest, most intuitive middle finger flick in the world, it does have multiple deployment methods for me. That makes a big difference because flipper only knives are less exciting. And it's like something to try to conquer on this knife, right? To figure out how to middle finger flick it and to get it consistently. And so the fact that I've gotten it now and I've mastered it, well, not mastered it, I figured it out. It makes me excited. I'm excited to carry this knife. I've been excited every time I've pulled it out to cut something with it. It's performed incredibly well every time I have cut something with it. This blade is excellent. It's nice and thin down behind the edge. It feels like, I don't know if it's the finishing or what, but just cutting with it feels smooth. The tip is incredibly pokey stabby. It makes piercing incredibly easy. The blade stock is fairly robust without feeling crazy. It's just like this knife, I'm impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed. And I'm having a hard time not carrying it. Having a hard time working other things into my pocket at the moment that I'm reviewing as well, because I just want to carry this. I just want it to be the knife that's in my pocket. I'm smitten with it at the moment. So I guess that's my first impressions. I'll go much deeper on the full review after I've carried it more, after I've cut with it more, and I've just had more experience with it in general. But for now, first impressions wise, man, this knife is so freaking good. I love it. I love this knife. It is absolutely excellent. So those are my first impressions on the Shiro Quantum. And appreciate you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one.